It is rare to find so much industry expertise all in one spot, right at your fingertips. The world of public adjusting and insurance claims can be a scary one. This changes now. That's why we built this podcast for you, where all the industry experts converge. Let us be your guide to education and personal growth. You're listening to Because Experience Matters, the show for public adjusters who want to up their game. Hosted by the 2021 Public Adjuster of the Year, Jack Hanks. How much money are you leaving on the table by not knowing all the approaches you can take to maximize the payouts to the insured and profits for your business? On this show, you will discover untapped strategies to become an unstoppable public adjuster and an effective advocate for your clients. In every episode, Jack brings on all the industry big dogs, including leading roofers, contractors, lawyers, accountants, and marketers. You'll access the insider scoop, real case studies, real obstacles, and actionable winning solutions. Let's jump in so that you can stop working hard and start working smart.
All right, guys, Jack Hanks, Because Experience Matter podcast. I'm excited today. We're really, really good dudes in this industry who I have a lot of respect for. Zach Moseley from MMA Attorneys in Houston is on today. Hi, Zach.
What's going on, Jack?
Oh, it's all going, Tuesday morning, and the craziness never stops. So, man, I can't believe we've known each other for like 5-6 years now. It's crazy how fast time goes. And
yeah.
I've seen you guys explode on the scene and do awesome, cool things. And I'm very proud of you guys. And once again, every time we've worked together, there's been 1,000% great results. I appreciate everything you guys have done for us. It's been amazing. So,
no, that goes the same for us, man. You've knocked it out of the park for us every time we've got you involved.
We try, right? So,
yeah.
So the first thing we'll get to all the cool attorney stuff you do later, man. But the first thing I want to talk about with you is number one, your second kid's on the way.
Yep, having another daughter.
Thanks. So 2 daughters, bro.
Girl, dad, gang.
That's number one. I have one, Hunter. She's 22, and I have a boy and a girl, and I can tell you, my son was a piece of cake to raise. My daughter was a hell on wheels, man. She has my personality and a little 5'8" body. And she's going to kill somebody 4 times out. So it's being a girl dad's a whole different ball game. And it's, man, you want to protect them and it's such a fine line there, I'm sure you've seen that already with your first one, right?
No, it's been the biggest game changer ever. More so than going to law school, more so than starting my own law firm. It's just crazy.
Have you found it? Number one, it's amazing, right? And there's no manual, so it's you wake up every morning like I have no idea what I'm going to do.
Yeah, my favorite story that I like to tell people is how life changes when you have a daughter. I remember being on an airplane and hearing babies cry, and I'm like, is someone going to shut that baby up? And now that you have the baby, I'm just looking around when she's crying, like I wish someone would say something.
Let's fight.
Yeah, my daughter's perfect. No one's going to tell me she's doing something she shouldn't. But
I remember our kids are, well, yeah, they're 2 years apart. I think yours will be about 2 years apart too, right? Give or take.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my kids are 23 months apart. And I remember we would leave these restaurants. We would bring them like little Cheerios and dishes to keep them active while it's going on. And we'd stand up in the restaurants and there'd be just piles of Cheerios spread around these tables. And I'm tipping the hell out of the waitress. I felt so bad because they're literally dumping food everywhere. And I'm like, here we go,
Yeah, every restaurant looks like a war zone after we leave.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Dude, when I became a parent, and it's what you're going to find too, Zach, is like their stages of parenting changes. Like when they're 4 and 2, and it's a different. And then the cheerleading starts, and then the ballet will start, and all these things will start, and then mine are 24 and 22, and my parenting's kind of done. Does that make sense? Now we're just I'm making sure they don't do anything real stupid, but the foundation's laid. But it all started way back when. But now that we're just kind of cool hanging out, and they're they're fun. They're good people, and but it's so much work. It's still a lot of work, and they're in their mid-20s. So prepare for that.
Yeah. Well, now you can share a glass with a Pinot with them.
Exactly. Thank you very much. And we do that actually, which is kind of cool. You know what's really neat is we go out to the patio, we'll grab a bottle of wine. We'll just talk, like no TV, no phones, no anything. We'll just talk, and it's amazing. I'll tell you what, kids nowadays are much better than I was when I was their age. I mean, I was 22 and 24. I worried about, getting my car washed on a Friday night and going out drinking all weekend and doing dumb shit. And they're actually, I mean, they voted and they care about the world and they follow politics and they're passionate about stuff. My daughter, her internship down at U of A was for a immigration lawyer. And dude, I never thought about that stuff when I wouldn't play softball and bowl and drink beer. I really didn't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Beer and ladies.
Exactly. It's different. It's kind of neat seeing them become young adults, and you'll see that too when your kids get bigger, man. It's just and I only advice, two things I can tell you is always be honest with them. Never try to BS them because they see right through it. And two, what changed our relationship about 10, 15 years ago, I started being completely honest with them on everything, work-wise and personal life. I didn't want to, so all the BS stopped, right? And they don't BS me, I don't BS them. Everything's on the table, and there's no, there's no judging, there's no crap. You just tell me how I can help you, because if something goes wrong, we got to have those tough discussions, and stuff does go wrong, right? So.
Yeah. It's kind of like the office culture. It's like we got to be solution oriented. We're not focusing on the problem. You got to focus on how do we get better? How do we strengthen?
100%. And being a parent, man, it's like herding cats some days, So
yeah.
Has it changed? So your little girl, she's what, a year and a half now?
Yeah, she's like 16 months, so okay. Just under.
How's the work-life balance going? Have you noticed a shift or a culture change or a mindset change or does that make sense? You're a different dude. I mean, I can see it in you just on Facebook, man. And
yeah, it's money used to be the most important thing to me, and while that's still important, time is far more important to me now than money. And so how it changed really in our company is I had to change my priorities. Like, I don't want to work till 11 p.m. every night anymore. So I need to hire people that are going to take away some of those roles and responsibilities for me, because I want to be home. I want to bathe my daughter. I want to read her books. I want to put her to bed. And if I'm working till 11 p.m. every night, I can't do that. So I think we had, I don't know, let's call it 50 employees last year at this time. Right. I bet we have over 200 employees right now, because we've had to build out these processes and procedures so that, everything's not hanging on me or James or, Pate or anyone. We have people that answer these calls, that answer these questions, that handle this. And, it's been great. I don't get to the gym probably as much as I should, but that's the next step. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. It's funny you say that, because I remember too, my kids were little. I was so worried about getting home and like being there. And then you do got to start, you'll learn in a couple of years, you got to start making sure you're healthy and happy as well and doing your workouts, because they need you to be your best that you can be. So it's that, damn, it's hard, bro. Work and your life and then the kids' life, and you're making sure your wife's cool, because she's going to have them, full time. She's staying at home, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's going to hate you some days, bro. You know what I mean?
It's wild. It's funny too. Like, people will be like on a Tuesday, "Hey, you want to go grab a beer after work?" I'm like, "No, I have a kid. What are you talking about? You still can do that?"
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's funny. Yeah. It's a different. I rarely go out on weekdays anymore unless my kids are involved, because I just want to get home and chill and be there for them. And even to this day, like it's crazy, because they're both at home now because the rents were so stupid. They had to move back home. But yeah, it's nuts, man. But you'll notice that, and then it's such a progression of life, dude. It's crazy, and I enjoy the hell out of it, and you guys will too. It's just nuts. So that's kind of cool. You said that about the office and the adding to the staff. You're like me, man. I have a hard time letting stuff go and delegating, because I know I'm going to say the right thing and do the right thing, and it's just hard. Did you find that difficult when you and James and Pete sat down and go, okay, we got to add to the puzzle here?
It's been one of the most difficult parts of scaling is trusting others. And I think actually probably the hardest part of scaling is just hiring people, hiring the right people, finding culture fits, finding people that actually say what they're going to do in an interview and not just bullshit you to try to get a job. We went through an incredible amount of turnover in the past 2 years, but it's to find the right fits so that our organization can operate as one. And one of the biggest things that we do is we always look for solution-oriented people. I can find any bum off the street that can point out a problem, but the real value is finding the solution and then executing that solution. So that's been our biggest mantra when we go to hire an employee.
Is culture a bigger deal for you than experience or education?
Yeah. Culture is far more important to me because I feel like with the resources that we have in place, I can teach an attorney how to try a first party case. Okay. I can teach an attorney, what squares are on a roof or what edge is. But what I can't teach is the guy that's going to be in here early in the morning and busting his ass, who's going to, go take specific CLE courses on the insurance industry, or that's actually going to take the steps outside of my direction to get a solution handled and not just run to me with each and every little problem that he could spend 30 seconds on Google finding what the answer is.
Right.
So culture to me is far more important than experience.
My daughter's going to law school and she's like, I'm worried about the law school I choose. I told her, I really don't think that even matters. Once you pass the bar, does anybody really care where you went?
Yeah, maybe that first job, that's it. But after that, it's very easy to make a name for yourself. I tell people all the time that are going to law school. So learn the law, be a good student, learn how to think. That's what law school is. It teaches you how to think, but also learn a skill while you're in there. Become like a Microsoft Excel wizard, or learn how to file some immigration paperwork that a first year law student should know how to file. I would also tell her, try everything. I went from wanting to be a criminal defense attorney to a transactional attorney, and now I'm, a first party attorney. So she's going to probably change her mind 1,000 times while she's in there about what she wants to do. So try it all.
I'm interested you say that. So you went to LSU Law School, right?
Right. Go Tigers.
Yeah. Right.
A little sore.
Did you have any idea? How long have you been doing this now, the insurance litigation? How many years is this for you?
It's been almost my entire career. So I've been doing this 7 or 8 years.
So your first year of law school, did you have any ideas this is even a thing? This even on your radar at all?
I didn't know that first party existed until after I started working at a first party law firm.
Holy crap. Isn't that crazy?
I know. I worked at a criminal defense shop, a PI shop, an immigration shop, just kind of, just seeing what I like to do. And, I took a Craigslist ad that said, hey, looking for a trial attorney next week or trial next week. I go and apply in person, because I was a first year lawyer, had my little resume in my hand. I dropped it off at the office.
A piece of paper.
Exactly. And they're like, yeah, you're hired. You're good. You look like a good guy. And so it was against State Farm in Houston in federal court. We had no date of loss. The roof just started leaking one day after a rainstorm.
Oh my God.
We won the trial. And that's kind of how I got indoctrinated into first party. Was a State Farm trial in federal court my first week.
Did you win?
Yeah. This is the crazy part. We were asking for $20,000. State Farm wouldn't pay more than 15. So my client said, fuck it, let's go try it. We ended up getting an award for $189,000.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. So did you know right then and there this is your thing, or?
I'm trying to compare it. I'm from Texas, so think of it like a high school football game, like that adrenaline that you get from playing.
Exactly.
Trials like that, you have to be on it. You're the quarterback at every step of the way. You put in the prep the week before, Usually with trials, it's months before, but
Yeah.
you know, I compare it to a football game.
Sure. No, I get that. I get adrenaline rush when we get stuff done and signed and a check comes, and it's a big, man, it feels good, doesn't it? I mean, this industry, man, I tell you, it's the last 5 or 6 years it's exploded, number one. And number two, I really feel like guys like you and me and Wood and all these guys and Chip and some other PA, I really feel like, number one, we give a damn, right? And I think without that, you can tell the people who give a damn, because it's not just about the money. Dude, the money's the easy part, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the hard part is, dude, the grind of it all, and the extra emails and the phone calls and the, not flying off the handle because someone's being stupid. And, dude, it's hard, right? I mean, I don't think anybody understands what goes, without being in this business, what goes in. I posted a couple of weeks ago, I had a little claim in New Orleans, $90 or $113,000, 143 emails, man, to get it paid.
Yeah.
I'm sure I lost money on it, right? I got my 11 grand or whatever it was, and but I wouldn't let it go because I knew I was right. And that's so important that we have it's got to be here, man, because anybody can write an estimate or file a lawsuit, but you got to get in there and you got to punch and punch and punch.
Well, that's the crazy part. So we've been in the industry, about the same amount of time. Let's call it 7 or 8 years. And even in that short window, or relatively short window, it is 10 times harder to get a claim paid than it used to be. It's crazy. There was a time when I would just call adjusters on the phone.
Yep.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Chip. Hey, Kellen. Whoever it was. Can you do 25 on this one? Yeah, I can do 25. Great. Let's get it settled. Hey, can you do 250 on this one? Yeah, I can do 250. Great. Let's get it settled. Now, lawsuit, whatever it is, mediation.
Yeah.
Appraisal, drag it out. Okay, appraisal award comes in. Now we're going to fight over what's covered and what's not covered. Just crazy.
Well, I started in the early 90s, and literally we'd go to a fire claim or whatever, and the dude would bring his checkbook, and we would go, okay, and he would give us an advance check for 50 grand to get started, and then we would type our estimate out on Xactimate, and we would mail it off or drop it off, and then we get the rest of the money. And the last 5 or 6, 10, 15 years, it's progressively getting harder every day. I think technology is making it harder for all of us. Between, we didn't have moisture mapping back then, or we didn't have hail trace back then, or we didn't have, if the roof had damage and the policy was in effect, we would get a check. Right now, we have to prove the data loss and prove the damage and how many pins in a test square and all this other crap. And it's just different, dude.
I think our technology has gotten better on our side. The insurance company's still using older technology, but I agree.
It's getting there. I mean, we started talking to those guys at Roofhawk. We're going to start doing some of that artificial intelligence on our stuff, on some of these hail claims, because I don't know how you even if I give you that to go to court with, I don't even know how you're going to lose that. You know what I mean? I saw one of their demos. It was very impressive. We like their product a lot. Yeah, we just got to connect it with them. We're working on a kind of a joint marketing thing, because I think if we start using it, it's going to help the industry to kind of get the word out there. Because once again, I don't know how the insurance or anybody's going to fight that, because it's literally science at that point, right? I don't know how you dispute that. Here's you program what I'm no technology guru, but you program what a hail hit is. The drone flies over it and pinpoints the hail hits. You look at your policy, you look at the storm date. I don't know what there's to talk about at that point. But they'll find something, right? Yeah, they'll make a new exclusion in a policy, or have some crafty defense counsel come up with some off the wall argument. So, man, what I want to talk about is, and we talk about this all the time, you and I, all the different moving parts on these claims. There's mediation, there's appraisal, there's arbitration, there's lawsuits, when to file, when to bring you guys in. And I get asked all the time, and my answer is there's no perfect path, right? Everything is different. You got to just have a really smart team around you. So do you have any philosophies on that? Or when you get a claim in, can you talk through that whole process? Like, let's say I call you a $3 million claim in New Orleans, like, boom. Yeah. So you hit the nail on the head on this. There is no perfect avenue to look at how every claim should be handled in a particular manner. But I'll go over some of the things that I look for on a claim.
to see, what route might be best. So the first thing that you do, if you're on site, if you're a contractor or a public adjuster, and you're thinking about referring a claim to an attorney, is the property owner even interested in seeking additional representation? Like, do they have the stomach to go through litigation? Do they have the stomach to sit through trial? Larger commercial claims oftentimes are more likely to go further into litigation. Are they going to sit for a deposition? If, this is some guy that, isn't made for that doesn't want to participate, guess what? Attorney might not be your best route. You need to look at appraisal or some sort of other binding arbitration that doesn't involve the insured sitting in front of a defense counsel getting grilled for 7 hours about, how he kept his maintenance logs for the past 20 years,
or didn't keep his maintenance logs.
Yeah. So, that's one of the first things that I look at. The second is going to be, what has the carrier done? Is it to the point where it's adversarial yet? Is the adjuster for the insurance company willing to open up coverage? Does he agree with your scope and it's just a pricing dispute? Where is the claim currently? If it's a thing where the IA is an asshole and he said, I'm denying this claim, I'm never going to pay this thing, fuck off. Well, that might not be the one for appraisal,
Exactly. Right.
Maybe it's time to find an attorney. And then the biggest thing, this kills me because I see these on these Facebook groups all the time, is, I got this 3-year-old claim in Iowa. I need an attorney. Well, guess what? No fucking attorney is going to take that because it's a 1-year statute of limitations.
Oh, man, I know.
Know the laws in the area that you're working. There are some states like Texas, Louisiana, Florida that are great for litigation. There are some states, though, like Iowa and Illinois, that it's terrible for litigation. Yeah. So, know what you're getting into. I think also set the expectations with the client realistically. That's one of the biggest things that gets me going is, I got a roofer that brings me a great claim, but let's say it is in Illinois where you don't get attorney's fees or bad faith penalties. And they say, because we've done a claim together in Texas or somewhere, oh, these attorneys are going to get all their fees covered. You're not going to have to come out of pocket for anything. This isn't going to cost you a cent. Well, yeah, that might be true, Texas, Louisiana, but that's not the case in Illinois. So please, don't promise these homeowners or these property owners that, you or I, Jack, can pull a rabbit out of our hat. Because sometimes the damage isn't there and sometimes the coverage isn't there. And in the worst case scenarios, the laws aren't there. Yep. And that hurts everyone.
So let's talk about that. I don't think a lot of people understand how I tell the guys all the time, the damage it has less to do with the claim than a P&L statement and the state statutes. That's what we're getting to. I mean, it's getting to the point, and we'll have damage, like in Illinois, great example, man. Thing is plastered, right? And there's nobody knows this, but there's no bad faith law in Illinois. Yeah. So I get a claim, I get it 1.1 million. You guys sue them, and worst case, they're writing a check for 1.1 million, right?
Yeah. And
you and I still get paid out of 1.1 million. So Mr. Jones has $600,000, which is great because he didn't have 600,000, but it's. And the insurance company knows that. So that's why a lot of these states that we work on all of them like you guys do, but man, it's driven by profit loss and state statutes. And I don't care what they say, that's what it is, right?
Yeah. And the way they look at it is, let's say, Jack, you submit an estimate for $1 million. It's a state like Illinois. They know that worst case scenario, their exposure is $1 million. What incentives do they have to pay you $1 million? It's one of those things where, guys, this is a business decision for the insurance company. They're looking at how many dollars they have out in the market, what are their premiums, how much potential exposure do they have, and they set budgets. You think, these state farms, Liberty Mutuals, all states, you think it was just by coincidence that they started telling their desk adjusters to say, we don't pay O&P? No, that was a business decision. They said, look, we're not going to pay O&P. We don't think there's attorneys. We don't think they're PAs. They're just going to fight over whether or not we pay O&P. We can save 11% here on paying out claims by having a firm policy or a company policy to not pay O&P. And so that's what they did. It was a smart business decision on their point. Unfortunately, it hurts the homeowner, it hurts the property owner, it hurts the roofing contractors, hurts the attorneys, hurts the public adjusters.
Yeah.
But I don't think the insurance company cares about that.
No,
I don't know, but that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, I get called, hey, this one's a slam dunk, and I'm like, man, there's no such thing anymore, bro. I don't care. I got claims on the beach that have been denied in a hurricane, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, So it's amazing, dude. And a lot of guys, you know, we did a training in Illinois, and you know Mike Duffy at Merlin, right?
Yep.
And he came in and he was screaming at these roofers like, guys, stop saying bad faith because there's no bad faith in Illinois. And they're like, what? I'm like, guys, this is why it's so hard to work here. You know, if I could just work in Florida, Texas, and Colorado, I'd probably be retired by now. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's easy. I mean, you know, our job as a PA is to be accurate, be right, and then set it up for you guys. If I have to bring you guys in, that it's all teed up, ready to go. Because let's talk, you know what, one thing, and I talked to Badger about this. See, Badger was on a couple of weeks ago, like I talked about. Dude, bad faith, right? If you do 100 claims or 100 court cases, Zach, number one, how many of those 100 actually go to court out of 100?
Less than 1%.
Right. And number two, how many times you really get bad faith? It's virtually, I don't want to say impossible. I mean, it's hard, right, to get that.
Yeah. So the last time we got a bad faith award in trial, like the jury actually awarded us bad faith damages, was February of 2020.
Oh my God.
And one still hasn't been paid. Yeah. You know,
and I want everybody to understand, you guys are one of the bigger dogs in the country. You ain't just some, you know what I mean? This ain't back of a truck, Zach. This is MMA big law firm guys. So you're talking February of 2020.
Still hasn't been paid. We just got the appellate ruling from the Oklahoma Supreme Court that said, you know, the insurance company was wrong. They denied their appeal, but the appeal took 2.5 years. My client still hasn't been paid. I haven't been paid. No one's been paid. The contractor hasn't been paid.
Yeah. So can you, you cringe on Facebook when you see, hey, I got a bad faith claim and we're going to get this one. And I mean, nobody really gets how hard that is for you, even though the biggest frustration I have, even though we're right, doesn't mean shit. Right.
Facebook is the mob essentially of talking shit. And, you know, sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's great, but you know, I'll talk with Hunter Klein over at Wood's office, or I'll talk with Larry Bache over at Merlin's office. You know, we got group text and we're like laughing about some of these people that post these things that are completely wrong and not true, but it's not worth us fixing or commenting on the post in Facebook because then we get, you know, 50 people attacking us. So, it, you know, I assure you, and I know multiple groups, PAs, contractors, attorneys, that just screenshot a lot of these posts and laugh at them because they're not even close to being right.
Yeah.
And they're not even providing enough information for someone to give them the right answer anyways.
I know. It's hard, bro.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little about you and I do a shit ton of appraisals together. And my frustration with appraisal from the Facebook groups is it's, in my opinion, appraisal is a great avenue if it's done correctly with the right group and it's ready for appraisal. I think it's the most overused and underused thing going on right now. I mean, I get calls all the time like, hey, I want to appraise this claim. Like, well, it was denied 2 years ago. Whoa, you're fucked. We can't appraise this, you know. And then I do. I mean, I find myself personally get a little gun shine too on larger claims going to the appraisal because it's such a little Wild West thing. You never really know what you're going to get. I mean, I'm fairly lucky because we're kind of the good old boy network on appraisals in Texas and Colorado and Florida and Louisiana. Like I know all these guys, so I have these relationships built up for these years now that we get a lot of stuff. And that's the funky part about appraisal is it's once again relationships I built up over the past on the other side as well. That they know I'm not going to be a jerk about it. We get stuff done. But can you talk about how difficult appraisal is becoming and when you're supposed to go to appraisal? And also another thing I want you to talk about is you can still file a lawsuit when it's an appraisal, right?
Right. So, yes, you're absolutely correct. Appraisal is one of the most overused and underused tools that we have access to. It's probably one of the best abused and underutilized tools as well. Some people, have just made killings off of appraisals, right or wrong, while others have, got their homeowner screwed or their property owner screwed because they didn't know what they were doing in appraisal. So, yes, I love appraisal in certain circumstances. We've had some great awards come down where we've hired you, Jack. And if you're on top of your game, if you're willing to knock these appraisals out in a week or 2 weeks, like that's supposed to be done, and you're not dragging them out for 2 years, it can be highly effective. And more importantly, it gets the property owner where they're supposed to be.
Yep.
They're getting the proper policy benefits. A lot of litigation that you see regarding appraisal is going to be centered around something happened, something odd or unique happened, or the insurance company just felt like, they're going to stick by their denial. They're going to stick by their original opinion. We do, I don't know how many law firms do this, but we do take denials to appraisal, especially if we think that the denial was, made in some sort of bad faith action or was just blatantly wrong. We'll jam an appraisal down an insurance company's throat. But there's certain, jurisdictions like Louisiana where you can go through an appraisal and then I can file a lawsuit on the back end and get the bad faith damages on top of the appraisal award.
Right.
We're doing that for a ton of contractors out in Louisiana right now and having incredible success. So it's just about knowing what kind of cases should go to appraisal and then making sure you're doing the right thing in appraisal if you're the appraiser or umpire.
So in Texas, is appraisal binding?
It's binding on the insured. I don't know about the insurer.
Right?
Yeah.
So what's the law say, though?
Yeah. So technically, an appraisal award should be binding on both the insurance company and the homeowner or the property owner, unless there's been fraud, mistake, or error in the appraisal process. I am not aware of a single appraisal award, that's actually been turned down. People say that procedurally it might not have been enacted correctly, or, you went to an umpire too quick or something like that. But an actual valid appraisal award being overturned, I have never seen that in Texas. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I've just haven't seen it.
Because we see the posts all the time too. Say, I got a shitty award. What can I do? I'm like, nothing. I mean,
go sell another roof.
Yeah, I mean, can you talk about too how the court appointed umpires work in Texas? Because I think that's a big. I see it all the time too, and I know you guys are great. Wood's great doing it, but can you explain how that process works and why it has to be done sometimes and how you do it? Yeah,
so this kind of goes back to our firm's stance about being aggressive. If we invoke appraisal or our client invokes appraisal on one of our claims and the insurance company refuses to go or participate in appraisal, I'll email a judge or a judge's clerk, or I'll walk down to a courthouse and actually get a judge to appoint an umpire. You don't need to file a lawsuit to do that. The rules in Texas are pretty clear that anyone anywhere can just walk into a courthouse and get a judge to sign a letter appointing an umpire.
And then do you pick the umpire, or how does that work?
So there's different ways to do it. Sometimes there will be designated umpires with some judges, like they'll pick a retired judge or a buddy that they have that they know has some experience. Sometimes you can provide a panel list and say, hey, will you pick a guy off this list? We represent that they're impartial and will do a good job. And then sometimes, you don't have a say. You just make a request and the judge will appoint anyone he wants.
Okay.
The rules are a little different once a lawsuit has been filed. If the lawsuit's already been filed, then the judge that is presiding over your claim has to appoint the umpire. If the appraisers can't agree, then usually the defense counsel and plaintiff's counsel will try to figure it out, and they'll agree on one. If that doesn't work, then it's when you ask the judge who's presiding over your case, hey, will you appoint an umpire? Usually plaintiff will select 3 names, defense counsel will select 3 names, and you'll submit those 6 names to the judge. But
Okay.
again, the judge will do whatever he wants.
Right. So I don't think it's appraisal, so many moving parts, man. And it can be such a minefield if you don't do it right. It's crazy to me, dude.
Appraisal's complicated, especially in these larger commercial claims.
Yeah.
I have a call tomorrow actually with a counsel out of Florida. It's an IRMA claim that we got, pretty late into the game. They want to redo the appraisal and they want to set a Rule 11 agreement or agreement between the attorneys about the rules for this specific appraisal. They want to say, hey, they can only appraise these things. They can only be in this dollar figure with
Right.
profit. They can only do X, Y, and Z because the appraisal took 4 years.
Dude.
And the 2 appraisers that were out there were knuckleheads, on both sides.
So that, man, another frustration I have on appraisal is any Tom, Dick, or Harry, and except for I'm a licensed appraiser in Louisiana, but most states there's no it's impartiality and independence. That's it. Like,
Yeah.
it could be a guy at Circle K or a dude rolling out of Home Depot could be an appraiser, and that's so. I mean, we're talking, dude, hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions, every year going through the appraisal process, and it's. I don't think that's good. That's scary. I think there needs to be some sort of, on both sides, designation or certificate or classes or licensing, anything like that, because I could kill your firm. I could kill your firm on a huge appraisal if don't know what I'm doing.
I mean, that's one of the biggest problems with appraisal is that there is no right or wrong. There's no set standard of rules. And, like you said in the beginning, a lot of times it's just the good old boy network. Like, oh, I know that guy, we drink Blanton's on the weekends together and, I'll send him a bottle. He'll send me a bottle and, we'll get this done. But I've had large commercial cases where I thought they were a slam dunk and carrier invokes appraisal. Next thing you know, we got a shitty umpire and he zeroes me out. And there's nothing I can do. There is no recourse. And that's the crazy part about appraisal is that if you don't have 2 to 3 guys that are all doing the right thing, the only person that really loses is the property owner or the insurance company.
Yeah.
And it's completely in the hands of the appraisers of that panel, unless it's the insurance company that gets the short end of the stick, because then they'll just say, we're not paying. But if it's the property owner and they lose, there's no recourse.
No, it's hard, and it leaves them high and dry. And they've already paid. They have to pay the appraiser anyway, and the umpire. If it goes to the umpire, they have to pay that bill. So it gets sticky, man. And then I can imagine those are some horrible conversations to have because they're done. They could be out. Like I said, you could be out $500,000 on an appraisal. That's why it's so sticky.
Yeah. We've had some very large appraisal bills, even from umpires. I'd tell them, good luck collecting for me. Here's my client out. Yeah.
Oh God, the Wild West, bro. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, appraisal is the wild, wild west. But think about this too. The insurance companies could change the rules and set out, some sort of doctrine to where these are the rules of appraisal, but they win so much too on appraisal, they don't want to do that.
Yeah, I can see that.
They have some hired guns too that get appraisal victories all the time. If they're going against you, though, you know what you're doing. You're not going to lose an appraisal. But that Tom, Dick, and Harry that serves gas at the Quickie Mart, he might get his ass handed to him, and there's nothing the homeowner can do.
They get run over. I see it. I mean, I see these posts all. They're getting run over because they literally picked the guy who guy or girl doesn't know what they're doing, and that's horrible. So I remember Chip telling me the story, and I think PA is the same way. I think a lot of us are undereducated and not trained properly. Chip's girlfriend Denise went and took the Texas Public Adjusting licensing exam, never studied for it and passed. That's a problem. That's a problem in the industry. That's not good. We have to have some I'm a huge advocate that we need to raise the standards of what we're doing because, dude, we're dealing, our firm, hundreds of millions of dollars, bro.
Yeah.
That's not good. And the thing about the frustration I have about being a PA you can make a very good living being adequate or less than adequate, right? And I hate that. There should be some sort of, higher standard here, because you said that one firm in Louisiana got busted, a couple weeks ago. He was cashing checks and not paying anybody and taking the money and shit. Like, God dang it. And it makes us, and the insurance companies love that, right? So there's another PA. Told you these guys are used car salesmen. There need to be some tougher standards, man, on our side, I feel.
And it's like with us too, like, just because you get your law license, you haven't reached the pinnacle. Like, you should always be trying to read more articles, learn, talk to Todd Stern, talk to engineers, talk to public adjusters who, see more policies. You can always get better at your craft. And what I see is a lot of these guys, they come out, they get their license right away, whether it's an attorney or a PA.
Yeah.
They get a big rip because they didn't do shit. And, they settle their first $1 million claim. And they're like, "Oh, I made all this money."
They're buying a Corvette, and
or Ferraris.
Yeah.
But
or
go ahead.
You brought something up a while ago. You said you and like Hunter Klein and a couple other attorneys talk all the time. I think that's the coolest thing ever, because that didn't happen 10, 15, 20 years ago, man. I think it's great. I mean, John and Hunter, they're friends of mine too. They're good people, and I love that you guys are communicating, because if you win a case or Hunter wins a case, man, it helps the whole community of all of us. I think it's just awesome that you guys actually talk about stuff, and actually I see you guys working together, which is really, really cool. I think it's great for the industry, man. Yeah.
Today is Tuesday.
Yep.
This week I've already talked to John Black at Daly and Black and Tim Johnson over at Smith, Jade and Johnson.
Yep.
It's Tuesday morning, and I've already talked to both those guys. Like, I don't think contractors or public adjusters know how often us attorneys talk to one another.
Okay.
We compete. Yeah, we go after large claims. Yeah, technically we are competitors, but the people that are in the circle actually like to help each other out and strive to make sure that as an industry we're elevating and not just hurting.
I mean, and so bad case law is a big thing too, right?
Woo!
Talk about that, Zach.
Yeah. I think we all just saw the bad ruling that came out of Florida.
Yeah.
AOB holders now. So if you're a contractor, you have an AOB. If that AOB is now invalidated in the state of Florida, once you're in a lawsuit, the contractor, the AOB holder, is now responsible for the defense cost. So that means you're paying the defense attorneys because they got your case dismissed because your AOB wasn't valid. I know several people that probably have thousands of these, and the average defense cost is probably going to be $15,000 to $25,000 a piece. So you're talking about 15 to 25 million. Some of these large contractors are going to potentially owe insurance companies.
Is that law retro? I know it was June 8th or something, right?
Yeah.
Is it retroactive, or does it anything? If you sign AOB on June 7th, are you okay? Or is it anything? Or is it retroactive or no?
No. Yes, it is retroactive. It's any AOBs that are inactive right now or that can be invalidated. So think about it. The AOB that was invalidated, I believe it was a IRMA claim.
Yeah.
And he lost, and the judge said you owe the defense costs. So that was a IRMA claim.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Think about that.
Yeah. Well, honestly, that's going to make, I'm going to get a lot more work in Florida now because of that.
Yeah.
So what if I hand you a file though, do you still get your attorney fees if a PA sends you a file in Florida?
So we, as a firm, MMA, are probably one of the few. I've talked to Larry about it. Definitely talked to Hunter about it. I don't necessarily love the idea of signing up an AOB holder. I want a direct rep file. I want the named insured, whoever the property owner is, signing my contract. I love working with contractors. I love working with PAs. I tell my attorneys all the time, lean on these guys. Call Jack. Call the contractor. They know this file better than you do because they've been on the ground since day one.
Yeah.
They've spent hours on that roof. Call them. If you need more pictures, let them know. They probably took them. We just haven't got them yet. they'll tell you how to sell this roof to the opposing counsel and why it's damaged. With that being said, though, your position as an attorney, when you rep the policyholder, is substantially more stronger. Okay. The insurance company knows, oh, this is an AOB file? No, I'm not going to pay that. I'm going to delay that one. I'm going to drive a wedge in between the contractor, the attorney, and the homeowner. They don't want to pay AOB holders. They hate AOB holders. I've had defense counsels tell me it's their goal to get rid of appraisal and AOBs.
Sure.
They hate them. They do not want that to happen. So, we will take large AOB files, whether it's volume or dollar figure. But if it was my perfect world, I would always get the policyholder to sign up with me.
Yeah, we're the same way. When you get appraisals from other PAs, I make the insured sign our contract as well, because they're technically the ones hiring us. I mean, we get tons and tons of referrals, but at the same time, they're the policyholder, and it's a much cleaner shot. And if anything ever does go crazy, I want to have a perfect seam there, right? You know what I mean? So, it's changing dramatically. And AOBs, I'm honestly, Badger did make a point a couple of years ago when the storm, like, a lot of these things were killing the golden goose. There's once again, it's that 5%, right? 95% of the roofers out there are amazing, great business people doing the right thing. But those 5% of dudes door knocking and taking Mrs. Smith's money and going and not doing the roof, that's the shit that stirs the pot, and that's what Badger hears about, and the insurance companies hang their hat on and make you and I look bad because we're in the industry as well. And that's the problem. And I wouldn't sign AOB if my roof blew off. I wouldn't. I mean, I want to control my file, but I know better, right? A lot of people don't. So
I think we've processed over, I don't know the specific number, but let's call it 20,000 claimants from Hurricane Ida. We processed that many claims.
Right.
Of that 20,000, I think we had 1,100 dual rep clients. That means that client signed up with multiple law firms and or multiple contractors. Whenever you get into that AOB position, unless you have a really polished sales guy that, is on the ball, he's making communication or contact to the homeowner once a week, they got 15 other contractors that are knocking at their door, selling the same stuff they're selling, and they're going to sign up with someone else. And it's not because the original contractor did anything wrong. It's just, these people in Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, wherever they are, they're constantly getting bombarded. And there's going to be a guy that can sell better than you. You're not the best salesman.
Yep.
I hate to break it to, Mr. Contractor, but there's some guy that's doing it just as good, if not better than you are. So then you get into the position where, okay, AOB holder 1 hires MMA. AOB holder 2 hires Daly and Black. AOB holder 3 hires, John Wood. Right. And this has happened. I've had to have this conversation with John Black. Hey, it looks like we're both on this file. What do you want to do? And we always work it out because we're friends, but there's other law firms that don't play nice in the sandbox, and it becomes a huge hassle.
Well, I remember that claim we had in that big ass church we did in Lake Charles? Yeah. We both signed it up.
Yeah, exactly.
And you called me hey, what do you want to do? And I'm like, you go, can we split it? I'm like, yep. And we split it and we got her done. It was a 5-minute phone call, but that's a relationship thing, right? And if you don't have those relationships, I can see that going horribly bad. Because Mrs. Jones doesn't know. She's just trying to get her fucking roof done with the tarp and this and that. She doesn't know all this shit's going on. And that's why these AOBs are so scary, man. I'm not a big fan, honestly. So
yeah, we're on the same boat on that. I'd much rather do a direct rep sign up.
So one more thing, we got a couple more topics to go over. So I do a lot of you guys' appraisals, and I love it, and I value it, and I got a check in from you guys about a month ago, and I posted it, and I'm like, hey, Zach, thanks so much. This is why when Zach Moseley calls, I answer the phone, and I think we got 37 likes on that thing, right?
Yeah.
And I saw about 2 weeks ago, some random, whoever that was, so I can't get a hold of MMA, blah, 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 blah. And I got about 850 people going off the deep end and all these other things. And then about a day later, you made a comment about it's amazing how Facebook will jump all over one little snippet, which is number one, it was bullshit anyway. But the good stuff, people kind of glaze over. They want to go for the juggler every time. And I find that that's such a cultural bad thing, but it seems to be like every time somebody, if you fuck up on a claim, you're going to hear about it on Facebook, man. Even if you don't fuck up on a claim, you're going to hear it on Facebook. So I commend you for standing up on that. And I think I commented right away, like, you're my brother, man. Let's fuck them. So
Yeah.
Can you kind of just hit on that a little bit and kind of what motivated you to post that? And that was kind of cool. You did that actually. So.
Yeah. So it was crazy. It was, I think it was over the course of 2 days. There was a roofing company out of Baton Rouge that posted, "Hey, I can't get in touch with McClenny Moseley Associates. Does anyone know them? Can anyone put me in touch?" I had a roofer buddy actually screenshot it, send it to me because I didn't see it. She didn't spell her name right. She didn't tag us. So it was just in, level the playing field. And, I went on there. I messaged her and I said, "Hey, I'm Zach Moseley, McClenny Moseley Associates. Here's my personal cell phone number. Give me a call. I'd love to help you out with any issues you have." And funny enough, she reached out same day. We had a great conversation. It was an issue where the homeowner had signed up with multiple roofing contractors, different AOBs. She direct rep signed up with us, and she'd actually signed up with another law firm that then referred the claim to us. So we had her as a client twice. And she was just trying to get some clarification. She's like, "Hey, what's going on here? We're family friends with the client. We're going to build the roof." Great. Lovely conversation. We got it all squared away. She even posted same day, "Hey, talk to Zach Moseley with MMA. Great guy. We're all squared away. Sorry for the previous comment." That post got 3 likes. The one where she said, "Hey, can't get in touch with MMA," literally, like you said, got thousands of engagements. And it was just, "Fuck him, file a bar complaint, fuck attorneys, attorneys suck dick, blah, 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 blah." And I'm sitting there like, this is a pro contractor, pro PA, pro attorney group that we're trying to help these people. And a negative post gets all these engagements and a positive one doesn't even make the radar.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. And, some of the posts like Jordan and, Derek Lindsay, Eric Connor, they're hilarious. I'm friends with them. We talk.
Yeah.
They make funny comments. But some of these guys are, $2 Chuck, that, is roofing his first job this week. "Burn his house down, find that motherfucker, kill him." I'm like, who the fuck are these people? But, I think a lot of people get tied up in the competition, and there's healthy competition, but, it's just one of those things. I could have been like, "Fuck y'all, I'm not going to lose sleep over this. I could give 2 shits less about this group." But there are some people that genuinely go to that group to get good information.
Sure.
Now, they have a legitimate question that anyone could easily answer, but they're too afraid to ask it because they're getting, hazed or bullied on the group.
Oh, I hate that. I mean, especially the new guys, they come in and, they're doing retail and they want us to do an insurance work and they ask a question and it's a valid question because they've never done a $100,000 insurance claim before. And then they're just lit up like Christmas trees. Like, you stupid fuck. I'm like, how did you learn, man? These groups are for, I mean, I use them hopefully to number one, it's great branding, but number two is answer these questions. You're going to get more goodwill out of being professional, answering the question politely, and giving the guy some help than you are being a dick. And some of these guys just can't help themselves. It's like entertainment. You sit there and read this stuff. Like I generally feel bad for like a new PA or a new roofer or anybody even, or God forbid somebody spells something wrong. You spelled there wrong and it's the other there.
Yeah.
It's like, man, the culture, it's like, everybody calm down. We're all working together and we're trying to do we're a little peanut in the world of insurance. And there's trillions of dollars coming thrust upon us. Right. And you guys are well funded, but it's hard still, right? I mean, fuck.
Yeah.
They can spend you $1 billion and one, can't they? I mean, but don't even.
I'll tell you, our overhead is, approaching $2 million a month, and we still grind. I mean, we're still out there. We're still having to file lawsuits.
Yep.
Like I said, 20,000 claimants, and, they don't treat us a ton of a lot different than, say some other firms. And, we do get some special perks probably, but, we still file lawsuits. We still go try cases. We're a law firm. But I think my favorite one is like when a new guy will ask, any recommendations in, Chicago, Illinois about how to get overhead and profit out of Liberty Mutual? Dude is getting lit up. Lit up. I just feel bad for the guy. Yeah, it's just.
Oh God. Hey, how do you feel about that lump sum thing, by the way?
If you're using it and it works, great. But I feel like people understand this. He who has the money controls the claim. So if the insurance company likes it and they pay you, great. But if they don't, switch it up. You know, I assure you, your stick is not bigger than theirs when it comes to getting money out of the insurance company. So I always say play nice. You catch more bees with honey than vinegar. Only get aggressive, only kind of become adversarial at the last possible opportunity. And it's really not your choice. If you're a contractor, you're the public adjuster, even you're the attorney, I don't get to say, hey, I'm going to be a dick. It's, hey, client, here are your options. What do you want to do?
Right.
And if they say, hey, let's go, let's move forward, well, then, yeah, you can be aggressive, but always try to work it out with the insurance company until you can.
Yeah, it never go. I mean, so Bradley Gardner has a lot of success with it, the lump sum thing. And we had a big podcast about it. And like, I don't, because if my job is to get the insured paid. And if Mr. Adjuster from Liberty wants an Xactimate broken down for the 38 squares, my estimator will knock it out and I'll have a check. Like I got to get there. I don't care, if lump sum works for them 100% great. But in our world, it doesn't, because the adjusters aren't used to seeing it and it freaks them out. So I'm all about the path of least resistance. If I got to sit on my head and run around the building to get paid, that's fine. I don't really care. It's all about getting the claim done,
I will say I have never successfully got a claim paid based off of a lump sum settlement.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, a lump sum bid, unless the roof has already been built and the insured signed a contract saying you're going to do this work for this price.
Right.
And the work's already been done.
Right.
That's the only time lump sum bid works.
Which is about
it's a lump sum contract. It's not even a bid.
Correct. And that's a fallacy out there, right?
Yeah.
It's been an hour already, my man. That's crazy.
Well, time with you always goes by fast because we have a good time.
I do have one more question for you, Zach.
Yeah.
Let's say it's your first year law school. You're at LSU. You guys are second runner-up again for the national championship. I'm just kidding. And if you had to go back to your 20s and grab you by the neck and say, Zach, here's some advice. I'm not asking you to change anything, but I'm asking you to give yourself some advice. What would be the one thing you would tell yourself, like where you are now compared to like 12, 15 years ago?
Yeah. So whatever you're doing, whether it's contractor, public adjuster, attorney, whatever it is, learn a skill that is highly valuable, but not something a majority of people can do. I'll say that I did not put enough emphasis on that. I was always like, hey, you got to be number one in your class at law school. You got to try really hard. You got to write good briefs. Well, you do that and you're smart and you learn how to think, but you don't really have a skill.
Right.
And so I remember one girl in our law school class, she learned how to file lawsuits, like not draft a lawsuit, but actually the skill of filing it, like e-filing it.
Okay.
And she got a job right out of law school at a small firm because they lost the only paralegal that knew how to file lawsuits. So they had, 3 attorneys, not one of them knew how to file a lawsuit. And so she got the job and she's a great litigator now. I think she's tried like over 250 cases.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but it's because she did that. Like she learned a skill that not a lot of people in her subset, attorney, knew how to do. Like I don't know how to e-file a lawsuit. I could not do that right now. I would have to ask a paralegal to do it. But I could draft a lawsuit.
Right.
And so I would just say that. And then I've found kind of branching out outside of SVG and all these other conferences, there are lawyer specific conferences that are not tied to an industry. I have learned so much in the past 2 years about processes, automation, what technology can do, what can be offered. Jack, you came to my office 2 years ago. There's no way I could have handled 20,000 claims 2 years. But now we are so AI technology driven. We've invested millions of dollars into building out processes and procedures. Not only does that help with your revenue and what you can bring in, but it also helps out with headaches. Just knowing that there's a person for that thing. There's a SOP, a standard operating procedure for if this thing happens, what should we do? And not only has that changed my firm, it's changed my life. It's given me probably years back because of how we've been able to grow and get better, really.
Right. Well, it's McDonald's. I mean, it's bun, meat, cheese, pickle, bun, right?
Right.
And so there's some variances, but as long as you have that core there and everybody knows what to do with the core, you're going to be fine. We have, thank God I have a business partner that handles the back end of our company because that's not me at all. But we have processes in place now where my job it's busier, but it's gotten easier, if that makes any sense. Because I do this and I go to the trade shows and I bring work in and I hand it off and I have a team sitting back in the other offices handling the estimates and the submissions and negotiation and the marketing and all the other stuff. It's been a godsend. I'm working long ass hours still, but I'm able to do what I'm great at, right? And they don't need me sitting behind Xactimate writing estimates all day, but that's not going to do anybody any good. So it's been great, like building a real business. And I think a lot of law firms, a lot of PA firms are just the guy. They're not a business. And I think that hurts a lot of us. And I think, thank God I'm 56 now, but I finally learned, so you guys are way ahead of the curve. So
we've been very fortunate, and trust me, we've taken hits like everyone else. We've learned our lessons, but it's almost like when you do that, you get your life back. Like you're taking control and now it's your life again. You're not a slave to your own company.
Well, yeah, because the hard part, though, like you said in the beginning of the podcast, is finding those right people. That's hard, right? So we're hire slow, fire fast, right? Because it's not doing them any good, and it stresses everybody the hell out. So, yeah.
Well, with that being said, let me know if you know any attorneys, paralegals, anyone looking for a job, and if your daughter needs an internship in law school, send her my way.
Perfect. Yeah, Hunter's problem is she's me, and she's a female me. So she I don't know if it's a problem, but she's going to be exceptionally great at whatever she chooses to do. And my son's working here for us now, and if I was 23 and knew this business, he's going to be, him and his buddy Jude are both working here. Can you imagine when you're 31, 32 and have been doing this for 10 years? It's going to, God.
I always tell people, if I would have known about contracting, or roofing, I should say, in high school, I would have never gone to college. I would have
been retired by now. These guys are great, but they're smart. So the new breed of roofers they're actually smart businessmen, right? You know what I mean? They're not just throwing nails and shingles on there. They build processes in the companies. It's a different world than it used to be. Thank God. I mean, these guys are great, Yeah,
there's a few monsters out there that are really utilizing technology and are putting the SOPs in place, the processes in place, and they are going to take over. They're crushing it.
Oh, for sure. And every day it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Thank God, So, all right, my man. It's football starts next week finally.
Yep. We got that lucky Irish now with LSU.
Dude, I'm excited about, not off topic, but I'm excited about our new coach. I think he's going to be phenomenal. I'm glad Brian Kelly's with you. You can have him. So, and I'm glad he has his accent the first day on campus. That's cool. So,
y'all were the AP poll just came out yesterday. What are y'all, 4th or 5th in the nation?
I think so, yeah. We play Ohio State game 1. So we might be 0-1 going into the week 2, but that's all right. It's good for him, So,
wouldn't that be a hell of an upset, though?
Oh, I know. Well, the Freeman used to coach there, so he's got a little inside track. So I'm hoping I'm excited for that game. Actually, we're talking about going to I'm trying to take my kids to the Packer game in London this year too. I've never been to London. I'm a huge Packer fan, so I'm excited to maybe hopefully do that in October if the Hurricanes are wound up by then. So
I did the Texans game in London in 2019. It's a great experience. I'd recommend.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, my kids are fired up. So,
yeah.
All right, my brother, how do people get a hold of Zach and MMA? What's the best route to get a hold of y'all?
Yeah, the best way to get in touch with MMA is to just call any of our phone numbers. They all go to a call center. But if you want to get in touch with me personally, I'll give you my personal cell. It's 817-676-2012. Shoot me a text. Do not call me because I won't pick up your call, but you can shoot me a text. And yeah, I look forward to talking to everyone and just growing the industry.
So I can assure you, every time I've texted Zach the last 7 years, within 5 minutes, I have a return text. And that is from the heart, no bullshit. And usually it's about football and us getting our asses kicked in the bowl game. But that's all right. But no, you guys are great. James is, that dude is just a warrior, man. He is the salt of the earth. You guys have phenomenal success. I'm so proud of you guys for doing what you're doing and growing that company and being part of the industry. And we would not be as good as we are without companies like you guys. And I really, really appreciate everything you guys do. So.
No, that feeling is mutual. We appreciate everything you do, not just for us, but for the industry. So keep it up, man. We're proud of you.
We will, brother. We will. And congrats on the new kid and have some patience. And your hair's going to start turning gray and falling out pretty soon. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Tell your wife congratulations too, my man. So.
We'll do.
All right, guys. This has been Because Experience Matter podcast. Zach Moseley, MMA. We appreciate it. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Amazon. We're everywhere on this thing. So appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to the Because Experience Matters podcast. That's all for today's show. If you want to learn more or work with Jack in person, visit www.thejackhanks.com. Oh, and don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify to continue to grow the podcast and change the industry.